You've been told that every decision you make is your own. They want you to believe that. But what if I told you that from the second you wake up, you're just walking a path that someone else has already paved for you?
Yeah, you think you're in control of what you buy, what you believe, what you choose. That feeling of free will, it's comfortable, it's safe. It's also the very first layer of the illusion.
See, real control isn't about making a choice from a list of options. It's about designing the options themselves. And right now, your choices are being meticulously, brilliantly designed by people you will never, ever meet.
You are being guided, pushed, engineered every single day. And in the next few minutes, we're not just going to talk about it, we are going to expose the 7 key tricks they use to do it.
First up, the decoy effect. This one's a classic. It's not about giving you a choice. It's about making you pick the one they wanted all along and making you feel smart for doing it.
Just think about that coffee menu you saw this morning. A small is $3, a large is $7. But wait, the medium is $6.50. Suddenly that large for only 50 cents more seems like an amazing deal, right? That's the trick. The medium is a decoy. It exists only to make the large look like the obvious, rational choice. You didn't choose, you were led.
All right, let's move on to trick number 2, and this one is brutally powerful: social proof. You know, we're herd animals. It's a survival instinct to follow the crowd. But that instinct, it's now being hijacked and used against your own mind. You're scrolling online, you see a product with thousands of 5-star reviews. Your brain doesn't stop and ask, is this actually a good product? Nope, it takes a shortcut. It says, thousands of people can't all be wrong. Those aren't measures of quality anymore. They're signals designed to completely bypass your critical thinking and get you to comply. You follow, and just like that, you're predictable.
And this brings us to number 3, fear-based urgency. The human brain is just not built to think rationally when it's under pressure. And they know this, so they create fake pressure to push you out of your thinking brain and into your reacting brain. You see that sale ends in 10 minutes timer ticking down, that only 2 left in stock warning? That's not helpful information. That is a weapon. It triggers a primal fear of missing out, and it slams the door on the logical part of your brain. In that tiny moment of panic, you don't think, you just click. And that is exactly where they want you.
Now, trick number 4 is way more subtle, but it is incredibly effective: the anchoring effect. Our brains, well, they're kind of lazy. They latch onto the very first piece of information they get and use it as a reference point for everything that comes after. You see a jacket with a price tag that says $1,000, but it's crossed out and now it's only $199. Now, was that jacket ever really worth $1,000? Doesn't matter. They've anchored your idea of its value to that crazy high number. So you don't ask, is this jacket worth $200? You think, wow, what a steal. I'm saving $800. You're not judging its value. You're just reacting to the anchor they dropped in your head.
Okay, on to number 5, the reciprocity trap. This one is sneaky because it preys on your decency, on your instinct to be a good person. We are hardwired to repay debts, and a so-called gift is just a way to create a debt that you never even asked for.
That free sample at the grocery store, that 30-day no-obligation trial, they're not gifts, they're hooks. They create this tiny, unspoken psychological debt. You feel this subtle pressure to give something back: your money, your attention, your loyalty. You think you're just being polite by buying the full-size product. You're not. You're following the script they wrote for you.
Number 6 is the authority bias. I mean, we're taught from childhood to trust the experts, right? To listen to people in charge. The problem is, our brain is really bad at telling the difference between actual authority and just the appearance of it.
A doctor's white coat, a fancy job title on a website, a deep, confident voice in an ad. These are just costumes. They are props. They're designed to make you suspend your judgment and stop asking hard questions. Your brain sees the symbol of authority and just defers. It automatically trusts, even when the advice is flat out wrong.
And that brings us to our final trick, number 7. And honestly, this might be the most insidious of them all: the commitment trap. See, our brains hate to be inconsistent, so once we say yes to something really small, it becomes psychologically painful to say no to the next bigger thing. It starts with something harmless, like signing an online petition. Just a click. Then they ask for your email. Then a small donation. Then a bigger one. Each step feels tiny on its own, but you're forging a chain of yeses. And you keep going.
Not always because you believe in the next step, but because you don't want to break the consistency of all your previous commitments.
Okay, stop. Just for a second. Seriously, take a breath. And think about the last thing you bought online, the last service you signed up for, the last opinion you decided was yours.
Was it a purely logical decision? Did you sit down, weigh the facts, and act based only on your own independent needs? Or were you guided there? Did you feel a little pressure from that countdown timer? Did you notice all those 5-star reviews? Did you compare the price to a much higher, crossed-out number? Was it your choice, or was it the last step in a perfectly executed design? Look, the really scary part isn't just that these tricks exist, it's that they are incredibly effective. They work on everyone, even on people like us, who know they're happening. Knowing about the trap doesn't make you immune. So that leaves you with a pretty clear choice. You can be one of the blind who are led down predictable paths and never even know it, or you can become one of the aware. Now, the aware aren't immune, but they gain something powerful, the ability to pause, to question, and to start taking that control back, piece by piece.
Because the goal here is not to completely escape manipulation. In our world, that's probably impossible. The goal is to see it, to see the architecture of control all around you. Because once you see the strings, it's a hell of a lot harder for them to make you dance. Seeing is the first true act of rebellion. If you have ever walked away from a store or closed a website with that weird feeling in your stomach, that little voice telling you that you just agreed to something you didn't really want, well, now you know why. That was your intuition screaming that it saw the design. And trust me, we have only just begun to scratch the surface.